Hey everyone, welcome back to the Bocce Piles channel where we play Legacy. We mostly play Teamer, and today we're going to be playing some mono blue Phyrexian Dreadnought. It's certainly tempo, so that is on brand, and you know, it isn't not Teamer. What happened is I saw this deck list in the league dump a while back, and I knew I wanted to give it a go on the channel. I mean, everyone loves Phyrexian Dreadnought. So thank you, Scissor Man Meat Pie, for your contribution to the Legacy Zeitgeist. So I made one change to the deck list. So there's just all these alternative, like 1-mana counter spells: Minor Misstep, Stubborn Denial, Hydroblast, Stifle, Slip Out the Back, kind of a counter spell. He's got these Mystical Disputes in the sideboard. And I just don't know in what matchups you're going to want to have these different counter spells. I just made them 2 copies of Hullbreachers, which I always love Hullbreaching people. There's going to be value decks, and man, I just don't know when I'd want those Mystical Disputes compared to Stubborn Denials and Minor Missteps. If you're unfamiliar with this combo, by the way, yeah, we play a Phyrexian Dreadnought for 1 mana. It has this crazy trigger. We got to sacrifice a bunch of 12 power, worth of creatures to keep it around, but we can stifle that trigger and get to keep our 12/12. It is a 2-for-1, but you get a 12/12. And then there's Dressdown. So this causes the Dreadnought just to lose its ability. So we could maybe play Dressdown on our opponent's end step and then Phyrexian Dreadnought twice. And this doesn't have any card disadvantage because, this replaces itself. It draws a card when it enters the battlefield. So you're not getting any card disadvantage. And then there's also this Slip Out the Back. So you can phase out the Phyrexian Dreadnought and then not sacrifice the creatures. And then when it comes back from being phased out, the ability does not trigger again. And this is also great against removal spells. If someone tries to Swords to Plowshares, our Phyrexian Dreadnought, we can just slip it out the back and it sticks around. We've got some Murktide Regents as a backup plan. We can bounce some things with Brazen Borrower. I mean, we don't get any removal besides some Dismembers in the board, but we do get a rock solid mana base. We get to stifle opponents out. Against all the crazy Ancient Tomb Goblin decks and whatnot, I can see this being pretty powerful. Goblins in particular. Against the initiative, they can Solitude our Phyrexian Dreadnought, but we could stifle that trigger. Yeah, we have no answers to Chalice of the Void. I guess we have Brazen Borrower. Well, we're going to be trying to kill our opponents quickly here. So yeah, Phyrexian Dreadnought, let's do it. All right, we're going to get to roll some Phyrexian Dreadnoughts here. So this hand, it's got Force of Will, it's got Dressdown to do our Phyrexian Dreadnought. We just have to decide. I mean, we're instantly punished by Mystic Sanctuary, but I'm sure Mystic Sanctuary will cause more good than harm. I get to decide if I want to play Mystic Sanctuary tapped or play Basic Island and hope to find an untapped land in the next couple turns here. All right, the opponent fetches on my upkeep. And it looks like they're going to be doing some Phyrexian Dreadnoughting. Rhinoing. It's kind of like playing Phyrexian Dreadnought. It's a 3-for-2 instead of a 2-for-1. Well, if this force resolves, we'll be in pretty good shape. So I guess I'm going to force here. Man, if only we had the mana to play this Minor Misstep. I guess I am going to pitch the Minor Misstep. It's not too likely they Rhino again. If they force back here, then we have Phyrexian Dreadnought to gum up the board, so it's not the end of the world. Okay. We did draw the land, though, so we don't need to play the Mystic Sanctuary. All right, I'm going to fetch Basic Island, play the Consider, And we'll put another Flooded Strand in the graveyard. Pass the turn. Man, we're probably just too slow here, right? Because we're going to go to 10. We really need the answer now. Otherwise, it's all too slow. So we need like a Stifle here. Force of Will. Yeah, that's not going to do it. Well, I guess we could dress down and then find like a second Phyrexian Dreadnought. So we're going to 2, which is not exciting. We could be fired out of the game here. Well, let's play Dressdown. Come on, deck. Show us that second Phyrexian Dreadnought. Ooh, there it is. Could we actually pull this off? A blue card. Wow, we drew the blue card. That's nuts. Okay. Well, I'm going to Wasteland them off the Volcanic Island. And I'm going to play Phyrexian Dreadnought. And I'm going to play Phyrexian Dreadnought. How about that, opponent? You thought your start was good. All right, the Dressdown dissipates on our end step. We have some 12/12s in play. We find a Brainstorm. So that means like we can Murktide Regent here, which is probably good. Well, we can make a 4/4 Murktide Regent, which is enough to absorb a Rhinoing. Okay, so if I attack with both Rhinos here, that's 24 damage. So they could block with one Rhino, and then they take 20 damage. So they need to block with both Rhinos, I believe. So I'm pretty confident in that math. I'm just going to attack with these Dreadnoughts to start. And there's a concession. All right, that's how we do it. So we do have some good sideboard cards here. Counterbalance. Maybe Surgical Extraction's a good one. Hydroblast hits like Minskin Boo. These Stubborn Denials. I think that Daze isn't that impressive against them. I mean, we have a lot of bombs. Minor Misstep counters their Rhino thing. Stifle counters their Rhinos. Maybe slip out the back. I'm definitely unsure on the sideboarding here. I mean, Brazen Borrower bouncing their Rhinos isn't that exciting of a play. I don't know how much better Stubborn Denial really is than Daze here. I mean, it's good if we have a 12/12 or a creature with a Murktide or a Phyrexian Dreadnought in play. Maybe I don't need Surgical Extraction. I mean, we can just go over the top of their Rhinos is the thing. I don't know how much Rhinoing twice is something I need to be concerned about. Okay, so what I've done is I've cut slip out the back for some Stubborn Denials. Wait, we have Counterbalance into... Oh, we cut Brazen Borrower. I mean, you're not really winning the trades if you're petty thefting their Rhinos. Although there's situations where it could be good. All right, maybe I'll just trim a Daze. Oh, I guess I don't have to trim a Daze. I mean, slipping out the back to get a fast Dreadnought down. What are the chances that's not good? All right, well, this hand has Stifle and Force of Negation and Wasteland. I think that this is probably a nightmare matchup for Rhinos. given everything that we've got going on. All right, the opponent's on that basic island and pass. Okay. So what I'd really like to draw here is Phyrexian Dreadnought, but consider is okay. So I guess I'll save that Scalding Tarn in case we draw a Brainstorm, but otherwise the plan here is to hold up Stifle for their Cascade trigger, or otherwise consider on their end step. It looks like they're going in on a Cascader. See how this works out for them. So we can stifle the Cascade trigger. Okay, that resolved, and they're left with a 2/2. Okay, so my plan from here is to Wasteland their tropical island, leave them low on resources, and oh, but we drew Phyrexian Dreadnought. So do I just want to dress down in their end step and then play Phyrexian Dreadnought and Stifle on my turn? Probably. All right, the island cycle, Yorion revealed. And they got another tropical island. So are we getting another Shardless Agent here, maybe? Not before attacks, at any rate. Okay, well, let's try this EOT Dressdown. And they could be on the old Mystical Dispute version, and this could get Mystically Disputed. But I guess that's not happening. Draw land. Ponder. All right, well, I think I do want to Wasteland them and limit what they can do. And then I'll play Phyrexian Dreadnought. It's in. I mean, I'm holding up Consider here, but I guess Ponder probably would have made sense. But, I mean, this Murktide Regent follow-up is going to be crazily good, regardless of if they have some crazy answer of some kind here. All right, I'll attack with a Phyrexian Dreadnought. If they go to Brazen Borrower here, I'll just Force of Negate it, Force of Negation it. Otherwise, we're following up with Murktide Regent. Oh, I clicked through my attack step. They took a long time, and I bungled it. All right, well, I'm going to play Ponder and then play this Murktide Regent. Ooh, Counterbalance. Well, I can't immediately set up anything awesome to put under the Counterbalance. All right, I'm just going to play Murktide Regent this turn, but all these other cards are fine. We'll get a nice 6/6 Murktide Regent out. All right, and we'll pass it back. All right, there's a concession from the opponent, even though I missed my attack. All right, we're on to round 2. Well, my opponent's on a Yorion strat. It's probably the 4 or 5 color control. I don't really want to mulligan here against the control deck with all the card advantage. Like mulligan for a fast Dreadnought, that's like a 2-for-1 anyway. In this kind of matchup, seems like it'll be hard. So I don't know, we'll see. Like Stifle is probably the best card. And just keep them off their mana development. You know, I put Hullbreacher in the sideboard. What this deck needs is Winter Orb, and then to pray the opponent doesn't have Carpet of Flowers. But if we're playing Minor Misstep anyway, That's a card with a good shot at countering the Carpet of Flowers. So they're playing the old Staff of the Storyteller. Makes a 1/1 and draws cards. That's fine. I will consider in response. Another land. Don't hate it. Staff of the Storyteller is in. I'm going to Wasteland their Karakas here. Okay, well, there's Dressdown. And we have 2 Phyrexian Dreadnoughts in hand. Well, I could Wasteland their Karakas. Yeah, no, I'm gonna play Dressdown in their end step. Then we can Wasteland their Karakas, and if they don't have another blue source, another white source, they're not gonna have Swords to Plowshares for our Phyrexian Dreadnoughts. So that would be cool. Here's a Brainstorm. Cracking Tarn. So let's see if they get a white source. They don't. Another staff. That is all cool. All right, so this puts us in a good position to have fun with our Phyrexian Dreadnoughts. This Wasteland on their Karakas is probably devastating. It's going to stop them from getting any use out of their Storytellers. Yeah, anyway, here's the Dressdown. And they're not going to have the white source to kill our Phyrexian Dreadnoughts. Another Dressdown, okay. Okay, well, I guess I'll play out the Wasteland. We'll play Phyrexian Dreadnought. Play Phyrexian Dreadnought. Wasteland the Karakas. So, I mean, it's gonna... They need to have the white source to have a shot at killing any Phyrexian Dreadnoughts. Then we have the Force backup. I guess I'm not gonna force Brainstorm here. But anyway, it's pretty unlikely they'll get both Dreadnoughts killed, and they just scoop it up here, so that's pretty sweet. Okay, so on the draw against the Lumbering Yorion control deck, what do we want? I mean, I think we want the Hullbreachers and Counterbalance. Okay, I think I'm going to board out some Dazes on the draw here. And we'll just run it like this. I mean, I don't know if back to basics. All right, I'm going to bring in a back to basics too. All right, we'll run it like this. I mean, maybe it's not like a Force of Will matchup. All right. I should have thought harder about it before submitting. Okay, like, I mean, it's got Phyrexian Dreadnought and Stifle. Opponent's mulliganing to 6. I'm going to keep. All right, they have their basic island. Dressdown is like a sick draw. An island cycle, Yorion reveal. Do I want to like stifle something like this? I think so. Anything we can do to hinder their mana development is probably fine. They're Force of Negating. So that's good news. They do get Tundra. So we're going to Wasteland that Tundra, probably. Staff of the Storyteller, doesn't matter. So I'm in a similar position where I could wait. Yeah, I guess I will. I'm just going to play Dressdown on their end step and see what they want to do about it. They want to draw their card. That's fine. That means no Teferis this turn. So they might have a Pyroblast for my Dressdown. Could see that happening. But we'll run it out there. If they got it, they got it. We can Wasteland their white source and then just play Phyrexian Dreadnought off of Stifle if we do get hit by the red blast. But we don't get hit by the red blast. We draw a Wasteland. Yeah, I'm gonna Wasteland your white source. I'm gonna play the Phyrexian Dreadnought. Brainstorm in response. I think I want to hold up Stifle for a white source rather than do anything else. Yeah. That's pretty much what we were talking about. Okay, so I'll attack for 12 here. I'll Wasteland their red source. We've got the Murktide Regent follow-up. I think I missed the Stifle. I mean, it's only a 4/4, so if they do rip white source, kill Phyrexian Dreadnought. We're still 2 turns out, but it's a pretty good clock nonetheless, a 2-turn clock. Yeah, there's a... That's going to get them a white mana. Prismatic Ending, sure. Force of Will, that's a good one. Okay, we've got them down to 2. Oh, we don't have them down to 2. They can block with their Spirit Token, of course. All right, let's ponder. So we're looking for Wasteland here. Another Force of Will. I mean, that's probably good enough, huh? Yep. Okay, so we can consider that Misty Rainforest into the graveyard. Force whatever they do. And then, like, the second Murktide Regent's probably pretty good. Oh, they're just going to put Yorion revealed into their hand. So they'll need, like, Solitude if they want to win this. Because what we're going to do here is just use Murktide Regent to grow Murktide Regent. And that's going to do it. And we have double Force backup. Oh, I think I'm short, though, aren't I? So maybe we can Brainstorm into a land here. We do. Okay. I guess I don't need... these are all... I don't think it matters too much. Now we've got it. Okay, just a little minor mathematical calculation. But there's the Murktide Regent. Now we've grown this thing to a 7/7. And yeah, 2-0-4 now. All right. All right, round 3 on the play. Yeah, I mean, this hand has Stifle and Daze, and we can always cycle Dressdown. I mean, if we just draw Phyrexian Dreadnought every time we play Dressdown, then we can't really lose. I think I'll play the basic island. I think it's more likely my opponent walks into a Stifle off a basic island than a Scalding Tarn. Urza's Saga. Okay, well, stifling the trigger there does not seem very good. But Dressdown is very good against Saga tokens. They just become 0/0s and die. Because they're 0/0 colorless construct tokens with some kind of ability. Another Saga. A Sphere of Resistance. Well, this I'm going to hardcast Daze on. So it's probably just a lands opponent. They're always playing the Sphere of Resistance. I will fire off this Brainstorm. More stifles. Okay, that's maybe enough with the stifles. Let's see, I'm not about to play Murktide Regent this turn, right? This will be 3 cards in the graveyard. 4, yeah, so it's only like 6, and this is 7. So I'll just put both these stifles on top. Play the Polluted Delta. If I end up shuffling away those stifles, it's not the end of the world. I probably do just want to dress down in the end step here. We have another dress down anyway if they get some constructs rolling. Crap, well I should have fetched in response to their Pithing Needle, huh? Mox Diamond, we'll let that resolve. Yeah. Well. Okay, there's a construct token, that's fine. Well, that was foolish. I brought that on myself. It's going to stop this Murktide Regent from coming down also. But I think I am gonna stifle this yeah, this trigger here, not let them do anything. We can take a swing or two from a construct token. Drawing more stifles anyway. Okay, here's a Life from the Loam we're gonna use Force of Negation on. I think. What do I want? Stifle or Dressdown? I guess I'll keep a Stifle. I'm just gonna play Murktide Regent and maybe just go coast to coast with that. The opponent is on few resources over there, just the Mox Diamond. Another Stifle, okay. Well, we have a pretty big Murktide Regent. Okay, they find the Windswept Heath. Sadly, we can't stifle this. Exploration, okay. Do they have more good lands? They do. Maze of Ith is definitely a good one against us, but hopefully they just pass the turn here. If I could stifle this Windswept Heath, I would be happy about that. Brazen Borrower. Okay. So I'm gonna attack with Murktide Regent. They should Maze of Ith this. Should do. Otherwise, I think we're just gonna hold up here. And I could. I'm just gonna stifle the Windswept Heath. We could have like stifled that Maze of Ith, but what I'd like to do is draw a Wasteland. And they're stuck on mana here, despite being the lands deck. Minor Misstep. Well, if they play another Mox Diamond, we'll have an answer. I'll just skip the attack. I mean, once in a while, attacking into Maze of Ith actually works. But here's another Stifle target. LOL from the opponent in chat. It is amusing, I agree. I think I'm gonna go ahead and Petty Theft this Mox Diamond. This kind of limits their resources. They need like another land in hand. Swords to Plowshares on the Murky Reach. Okay, makes sense. Right, Horizon Canopy. Okay, we finally got there with another land. There's a Saga. Here's a Life from the Loam. I can't do anything about it, but we're going to be saving this Dressdown for their wave of tokens. That's going to happen. Mox Diamond. Their mana doesn't matter too much. I think I'll just let them have it at this point. Sphere of Resistance. Well, that's a little more worrying. Oh, I'm gonna play the Brazen Borrower here. We need to get some threats into play. That Swords to Plowshares on my Murky Reach was pretty good. Okay, more lands. I'll attack with a Brazen Borrower. Could use Maze of Ith. You don't. Well, there you go. Maze of Ith. Or attacking the Maze of Ith, doing its thing. Alright, we're gonna let them attack for 4 here. Making another construct token. That's okay. So I'm going to dress down on the end step here. I mean, this seems like my chance to draw some Phyrexian Dreadnoughts or Wasteland or something. I guess Ponder seems like my best bet. These aren't good. Force of Will. Well, I'll try attacking with Brazen Borrower again. I'm sure they'll remember their Maze of Ith this time. They do. I feel like our window is probably closed here. We needed to find some Phyrexian Dreadnoughts, and we did not. So they got an expedition map there. So they're going to be able to assemble a 2020 here pretty soon, I believe. Yeah, they get my Ponder. So there's another Life from the Loam. Sagas. I mean, I guess I'm going to give it another draw step here. But we'll try this Brainstorm. There's a Phyrexian Dreadnought, but we are lacking enablers. Come on, man. All right, here we go. Mystic Sanctuary. Or like Stifle. Seems really slow. All right, well, I don't know what else I'm doing. So we'll do that. All right, we'll use the ability. Stifle's on top. Attack with Brazen Borrower. Why not? And F6 here. We do use Maze of Ith successfully. They wasteland my Mystic Sanctuary. I have to imagine they're going to use Expedition Map for something. Draw a card off the Soul Guide Lantern first. Do get their life from the loam back. Yeah, I think they can just get the Dark Depths here. I mean, we can Petty Theft Ghost Quarter. Okay. I guess I'll float an island or float a blue off this Ghost Quartering here. It's going to take them quite a while to Ghost Quarter us. Well, I guess it won't take that long. It does take 4 mana to do the Phyrexian Dreadnought. I guess I'm going to force pitching Ponder here and slow down the shenanigans. I mean, they're at 13 life. So we'll just take like finding Wasteland or another Stifle one time. Maybe get in with Phyrexian Dreadnought and win the game. All right, they're just gonna pass the turn. Draw Stifle. Oh, I drew Dressdown? Oh, because of the Ghost Quartering. Right. Okay, well that works out even better. Okay, well, yeah, I'm gonna play Dressdown, a Polluted Delta, tapping for a green, thanks to Yapamaya. And here's a Phyrexian Dreadnought. That Sphere of Resistance doing work here. But yeah, if we find Stifle, I mean, we might actually pull this off, though. I guess they're gonna make some giant constructs. So on their turn. Well, if we find Wasteland or Stifle, we maybe got a shot here. And we did shuffle that one Stifle back into our library from the Ghost Quarter. So the opponent made mana instead of constructs. So they've gotten a Shadow Spear here. Do they have like an Endurance or something? And we could really pull this off if I just find that Stifle. The Crucible of Worlds, okay. Ghost Quarter, sure. I'm out of lands to search for, right? But if my deck serves me up Wasteland or Stifle, then I mean, I think we've got it. Yeah, I'll just shuffle again. All right, deck. Stifle or Wasteland. One time. Consider. That's not going to do it. Bummer. So close. I guess I could consider into the Wasteland, right? Polluted Delta is not it. Slip out the back. Yeah. So we can attack here. But it just doesn't do it. And they smartly use the Maze of Ith on the Phyrexian Dreadnought and go to 10. Slip out the back here does not help with that kind of thing. They're using Ghost Quarter. I'll do the shuffle. We're going to be down to 1 land here. It seems like Wasteland would still do it. Because, I mean, they could play the Tabernacle, but they're out of land drops here. They would need to get a 3rd land drop to play the Tabernacle and make me sack all my boys. So yeah, deck, we still have one more crack here. We have not hit any Wastelands this game, right? No, we have not. All right, deck, Wasteland one time. Come on. Stifle. It's almost good enough. All right, well, they can just play the Tabernacle from here, and we're out of land, so, all right. Dang. Well, I think I just was a little not dialed in after steamrolling the previous two opponents. Here we've got Surgical Extraction and Back to Basics. So what do I want to board out? Minor Misstep hits Exploration. I mean, Daze, I guess, is probably not exciting. Not the most exciting against the Crazy Lands deck. Maybe board out a Consider as well. One Consider. Counterbalance, Dismember, Stubborn Denial. I don't think we need any of those. So let's run this out there. Okay, this hand has Force of Will and then Dressdown into 2 Dreadnoughts. I don't think I need to risk playing Ponder here and lose my blue card to pitch to Force. Yeah, you can have an Urza Saga. Another Force, okay. All right, so they're just on a make constructs plan. That's cool. Especially if we can hit a blue card. We do hit the blue card. So now we've got double Force, double Dreadnought. So this game should be less crazy than our previous game. If only we had that 3rd mana, but what are you going to do? All right, Dreadnought's gone. I mean, I guess they'll get their Shadow Spear, but they're going to take a bunch of damage from their Ancient Tomb. And yeah, I don't know if they can get their Shadow Spear equipped. We'll see what they've got at any rate. All right, that Saga takes up to 3. They decline to make another construct. Here's Mox Diamond. All right. Well, I can definitely force whatever they're about to try to play here. A choke. I mean, choke really doesn't matter. I'd rather just have double force. Maze of Ith. Well, that'll slow me down for a turn. I mean, I guess if they have like another Maze of Ith, that'll be good for them. I don't know. I mean, maybe I should have forced the choke so I could ponder looking for Wasteland. But I gotta think they're gonna be dead here. Yeah, here's a crop rotation. So we can just daze this. They don't have any mana. And there's a concession. Okay, well that was a lot less awkward than the previous game. So Daze is even worse on the draw here. I could just board out the Dazes entirely, or just bring in this Consider. I guess one Daze is okay. I mean, I still don't think I want Dismember. Stubborn Denial. Yeah, I'm just gonna run it back here with one Daze. Right on the draw, well this hand has Force and Brainstorm and Stifle, so we're just looking for Dreadnoughts. Windswept Heath from the opponent. And they're just passing, that works for me. Murktide Regent, not a bad one. Urza Saga. Exploration. And how much do I care about this? I guess I can brainstorm in response and see where we're going here. Well, that back to basics is probably going to be a fun one. I think I'm going to let the exploration resolve. It's more things like choke. and other some such that I'm worried about. So slip out the back, not looking too hot here. I think I want my land so we can get to 3 mana. Yeah, they can play one more land with this exploration. That's fine. The Wasteland. And there's a Sphere of Resistance. Okay, well, I do wish to counter the Sphere of Resistance. And Stifle can probably go. All right, I'll lose the Stifle. It is some kind of interaction, but I just need to make it through one more turn here. Life from the Loam, getting back a Windswept Heath. So we can surgical the Life from the Loams here. And see what they're working with. I mean, they might have like one of those cyclers. And get rid of the loam, or return the loam to their hand. We do get to hit them with the back to basics. Crop rotation. Okay. Doing the Horizon Canopy Dredge. All right. So they get to keep their life from the loam then. Okay. Well, I think this back to basics is still going to be pretty good. There's Force of Will. It's a little late, but back to basics is going to be very effective against and they got life from the loam in hand and some unknown card. But from here, I'm just going to be trying to play Murktide Regent and protect it with Force of Will. So their Saga takes up to 3. They get an Expedition map. They're just passing the turn. Interesting. There's a little pause in my upkeep. Maybe they're thinking about Endurance here. I guess I could dress down Endurance. Or I could just force it and get my Murktide Regent this turn. But I don't think they can have Endurance and green card. Well, we'll see. Okay, we draw a land. All right, I'm just going to get this Murktide down while the getting is good. Got Dressdown in Force. Another exploration from the opponent. Well, they can have... They've got all the land drops over there. All right, I'm definitely going to be... I guess I should have fetched a Thin last turn, but we're in hardcast Force of Will territory. Opponent is going for that crop rotation. I am just going to fire off the Force of Will here. Sadly, I don't have anything to Mystic Sanctuary for. I mean, I guess I could force this, exiling the Dressdown. And then Mystic Sanctuary, Force of Will back on top of my library. That's probably good, right? Okay. Okay, I guess it didn't trigger. All right. I would have thought there was a triggered ability. I guess not though. All right. Well, good to know. All right, the opponent conceded. All right, well, that was slightly more ungainly, but the Phyrexian Dreadnought Rhinos, just Phyrexian Dreadnought doing its thing. No Rhinos involved, but we did beat Rhinos in round 1. All right, so my opponent's on some kind of Yorion deck, and we have no lands, so pretty easy decision to mulligan. Well, this hand has Dressdown and multiple Phyrexian Dreadnoughts, so I'm going to keep. So it does look like Death and Taxes. Now I'd have to imagine that this is not the best matchup. Though maybe double Phyrexian Dreadnought can get the job done here. I'm sure they won't be expecting that. So the opponent does have Rishadan Port over there. That's kind of a good one against our hopes and dreams of end of turn doing this Phyrexian Dreadnought thing. I guess I'm not going to let them just tap my... tap my basic island, so I didn't fetch there. Okay. Grab a basic island. We'll see what the opponent wants to do on turn 3 here. This Mystic Sanctuary is a bit of a bummer. Well, just like another basic island here, so I could hold up Stifle for their Solitude or whatnot would be pretty awesome. The Recruiter of the Guard. So what are they going to get with this Recruiter? Flicker Wisp or something? I think I have to kind of stick to the plan. If I can draw another island or any old land, really, we can hold up Stifle for whatever interaction they might have for my Phyrexian Dreadnoughts. So they do go for Phyrexian Dreadnought, and that one is a little slow and susceptible to Stifle. So I would consider that better than Flicker Wisp. Take damage from this Giver of Runes. Crack Flooded Strand. I'm really hoping for a mana here. But I'll play this Dressdown. Force of Will, okay. Well, that protects my Phyrexian Dreadnoughts also. Ooh, and there's a land. Okay. So I could Wasteland or Rishadan Port. I think holding up Stifle is probably best. Stifle plus Force. They would need a whole bunch of Solitudes. All right, so they play Field of Ruin. The Lauren of the Third Path. So do I force this or stifle it? I think probably just stifling this is fine. It seems like we're going to get there. The Stifle trigger resolves. So they have 2 Solitudes. That's the only question left. There's Solitude number 1. Okay, and they've conceded, so they presumably did not have Solitude number 2. Okay, this match. I'm less excited about Force of Negation. And, you know, back to basics, actually, I think can do work in this kind of matchup. Minor Misstep, yeah, can counter the Swords to Plowshares. I guess I can just trim a Consider. Well, this hand answers the turn 1 Ether Vial. We've got some interaction with Dismember, a way to do our thing with Phyrexian Dreadnought, with Stifle, and Stifle seems like just a generally good one in this matchup. But they just pass the turn and do nothing. I'll be happy to start with a turn 1 Ponder. And that's a lot of Stifles. I think it needs to be a shuffle. We draw Stifle, okay. I mean, Stifle does stuff in this matchup, to be sure. We're going to get Thalia here, a Spirit of the Labyrinth. I'm probably happy just to dismember this. Also, we don't have any Brainstorms or anything here, so it kind of doesn't matter. Polluted Delta. Well, the nature of Dismember and the paying of life means I think I need to just fire this off now. If I do it later when they've attacked me with it a bunch of times, that'll be less good. And I guess I'll just crack off this fetch land and pass the turn here. The opponent has a Rest in Peace. I guess I'll consider in response. So that shuts off the old Murktide Regent. But man, is that worth Force of Willing? Could always just play Murktide Regent for 7. Or Petty Theft it. I think I just need to let this resolve and have bigger fish to fry. Maybe what I should have done there is actually just stifle the trigger. I have extra stifles in hand, and then that would afford me probably, you know, at least 1 Murktide Regent. Well, we're not failing to draw Stifle, so we got that going on. Get out of here, Karakas. The thing about Wastelanding Karakas is if they have another Karakas, it's pretty bad. Because, you know, Karakas is legendary, and they were already, like, Wastelanding themselves. Thalia. I think I just have to let this resolve. We're not really lacking in mana, is the good news, and this only beats for 2. But we saw how Sphere of Resistance was effective in slowing us down in the previous game. Okay. So I can play Phyrexian Dreadnought here, but then I can't protect it. Is probably important. So we're going to have to pass for a turn. Ideally, we would stifle something like a Recruiter of the Guard. Getting Yorion, okay. Let's fetch to thin. Minor Misstep. This Thalia is so good here. I think I just have to hope this Phyrexian Dreadnought resolves and that we can survive a turn on Force of Will. And then from there, we'll have Force of Will and Minor Misstep for whatever our opponent might have. They did not instantly use the Solitude, so that's good news. Field of Ruin. So they got 3 cards in Yorion in hand. How many of them could possibly be answers to Phyrexian Dreadnought? Okay, that's 1. I'm going to force this. Paying 1. Pitching. Stifle. Don't have swords. It looks like they don't. Okay, so now we have Minor Misstep up and Stifle, so I think we're in the clear. Murktide Regent, that's not doing much. 12 to the dome. I mean, they can play Yorion here, but it's going to be on chump blocking duty. Do find Wasteland. Flicker Wisp. Well, we have the Stifle for this trigger. And so they need 1 more crazy thing. And it needs to not be Swords to Plowshares. It looks like that may be all she wrote, folks. We're going to bounce Karakas. They're going to maybe... Oh, now here's the Solitude. Okay. Didn't want to use the Yorion. All right, well, I think they might have us here then. Oh, we do go up to 21, though, so that does buy us time. Wasteland. We can take them off Karakas and bouncing Karakas over, or bouncing Yorion over and over. So that's something. Go to 18 off this Flicker Wisp. We're gonna play Yorion. They're not gonna play Yorion. Dressdown. Solitude. Yeah, that happens. So I probably am just gonna dress down on their end step and hope for the best. Although we know they've got the Yorion in hand. Well, we'll take 6. They're back up to 11. But yeah, I think I just have to play the dress down. They are going to Yorion now. Okay. All right, so we can... That's fine. They can do the blink triggers now. Then we can dress down on the end step when the cards come back. And I don't know if they're trying to do some shenanigans where they infinitely Flicker Wisp their Yorion and keep it going, which means that they could get Solitude back in the event that we are able to land a Dreadnought. Oh man, I was supposed to dress down in before this happened, and now the trigger's on the stack. Dang. That's a bummer. So, yeah. Well, I haven't had to do this in some time, folks, is all I can say about that. Play Brainstorm. There's the Phyrexian Dreadnought, too. Okay, well, what I can do is play Phyrexian Dreadnought and then slip it out the back. It would be nice to have this back to basics in play. Now, the slip out the back doesn't solve the problem. Because when the Yorion comes back... Well, the Yorion's going to come back this turn and not get its trigger, actually. So maybe we are in the clear. So I guess I'm not going to back to basics this turn. Okay, yeah, so the Phyrexian Dreadnought, okay, I think it looks good. So if they attempt to remove it, we have the slip out the back. And the Yorion's going to come back here and not get its trigger. There's the whole active player, non-active player, and so this trigger is still around. So now the Yorion is dead, or the trigger is dead. Recruiter of the Guard, okay. So they'll probably get the Lauren of the third path there, I think. Skyclave Apparition, okay. So they do this. Then I still get to slip my Dreadnought out the back. They have 6, 10, 13 power in play. It's going to be pretty close. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so they're just going to win the race here, I believe. Yeah, I mean, I can attack them, but they can attack, obviously, for more than 6 damage next turn. I don't think I have a way to get a couple more damage through. No, sadly not. Well, I'll attack for 13. See what they want to do, but this was the part where I'm not playing any lightning bolts. Is Sag. They're going to block with a recruiter. And I'm just going to concede here. I'm not going to show them the back to basics. And I'm sure they can figure out how to attack for 6 on their turn. All right, so for game 3, I don't see making any changes here. We'll just run it back. All right, game 3 on the play. So we have a hand with Dressdown and Force. I mean, I have to think that this is enough of what we're looking for, that we're running it. If the opponent plays like an Ether Vial turn 1, I'll Daze it. But otherwise, we're going to be trying to brainstorm into Phyrexian Dreadnoughts here. There is an Ether Vial. I think that dazing this probably just has to be the play. I mean, I could force it. But our life is certainly a lot easier. And everything they're trying to do is much easier to manage without an Ether Vial in play. Okay, another Dressdown. Don't hate it too bad. Another Ether Vial. Well, let's brainstorm here. So I could just petty theft it and kind of punt on this Ether Vial. And then it's a question of, do I want these? Oh, okay. All right. Well, it's a question of if I wanted Dressdown or Wasteland there. The second Dressdown, I mean. But yeah, I will just go ahead and petty theft the Ether Vial before anything too crazy happens. So they want to play a Spirit of the Labyrinth. I feel like I can ignore this. And then they're going to play the Ether Vial. Do I want to force it now? I mean, I could Wasteland the port and then play Murktide Regent and start attacking. And I think I'll actually probably do that and get rid of the Stifle. Dressdown can turn off the Spirit of the Labyrinth. Unless I draw like exactly Phyrexian Dreadnought here. Stifle, okay. So let's Wasteland them. And get this Phyrexian Dreadnought down. I mean Murktide Regent. Alright, so the opponent's on their third planes. And they're attacking with Spirit of the Labyrinth. Does this mean they have like Dismember? I guess it must, right? Alright, I'll take 3. Flicker Wisp. Okay. Well, I guess I could have just blocked him. It must mean they have like a Phyrexian Dread, a Dismember, right? Ponder. Well, that's good against. All right, the Spirit of the Labyrinth is good against my Ponder here. Okay, they don't wish to trade. So I'm looking to Dressdown in their end step and then find Phyrexian Dreadnought and play it. Taking 6. So here's the Dressdown. Okay. All right, let's play Ponder and find Phyrexian Dreadnought. No Phyrexian Dreadnoughts shall be found. Well, these Murktide Regents aren't very exciting. I think it just has to be a shuffle. Phyrexian Dreadnought. Nope. Alright, well, we may be in trouble against this Death and Taxes deck. I mean, I guess I should have just blocked their Spirit of the Labyrinth when they attacked, but I feel like the plan must have been to play Dismember. I know, but then they would be dismembering my Murktide Regent now. So did they just make a crazy attack and I didn't call? Is that what happened? Aganjo. Okay, that's what happened. Well, we'll stifle the Aganjo. Okay. Back to basics, not doing the most here. But we can get back this Ponder. And then Brazen Borrower can block this Flicker Wisp. Alright, they're coming in. Gonna Brazen Borrower and attempt to block it. Moving to blockers. So it looks like this trade is happening. Extraction Specialist. Okay, so they get to put Spirit of the Labyrinth into play, but it can't attack our block. Well, I suppose that's not the worst thing that could have happened. We, of course, do draw Ponder. Yeah. I mean, the only thing, like, Murktide Regent is, like, the only thing that does anything here. So we draw the Dressdown next turn. And by that point, we're dead. Yeah, it doesn't, Unfortunately, we're not going to get there against Death and Taxes. All right, they get in for 3. So I guess a Murktide off the top would still be a good one here. Stoneforge, well, probably Kaldra is enough to finish us off. All right, so they do get Kaldra. We draw a Stifle. All right, that'll do it. Could not get there against Death and Taxes, but it is a tricky matchup. We probably could have played tighter in there somewhere. In any case, round 5 coming up. Okay, round 5, playing for the old 4-1. And this hand. Well, this hand can technically play Magic. I think I'm going to keep. I mean, Dressdown is very good. So I think I'm going to lead on the Mystic Sanctuary here. Let it come into play tapped. And the opponent's on a mulligan to 5, though. I don't know. If they are on, like, Reanimator, maybe we can Petty Theft the fatty that they're about to try to get into play. It does seem like it's Reanimator. All right, I'm going to Ponder here. Daze and Stifle. Well, these are probably both good, and the Stifle is probably slightly better than the Daze, I would think. Stifling this fetch land seems pretty capital. City of Traders. Okay, so it's going to be some kind of black stompy. So we're getting griefed, huh? It has menace and lifelink. Does combat damage to a... So whenever any knight deals combat damage to a player, it gets a +1/+1 counter, and they get a blood token. Okay? So they take away my Stifle. And then what are we going to do with this Bloodstained Mire? Nothing. So Daze is still on top of my deck. I think I'm comfortable drawing that. So I can try to consider into another land here. Or I can hold up Dressdown and Petty Theft. I mean, I think I'd rather hold up Dressdown and Petty Theft. Okay, but they're just doing nothing, though. Well, let's try this Consider. There's a Misty Rainforest. And another Daze, okay. All right, opponent's just passing the turn, so I'm gonna... Oh, okay, they're not just passing the turn. But I'm probably gonna dress down in their end step. Unless they play something right here that I want to dress down even more. Okay. Bayou. Maybe they're an Orcish Bowmaster here, but the dress down is good against the Bowmaster. Another land, okay. Brainstorm. There's a Phyrexian Dreadnought. So what do I want to put back? Probably just the lands, I think. So we'll put out this Phyrexian Dreadnought. I mean, if I had kept a land, I would have had the opportunity to play... Dressdown again. Or Petty Theft. This opposition agent really doesn't matter. Do I want to waste a Daze on it? I mean, I suppose it could matter later, and I don't know how good these Dazes are going to get. So let's do it. All right, a Mox Diamond from the opponent. I'm going to allow that. I don't know if they're like a Cavern of Souls deck. Grist the Hunger Tide. Well, we have Force of Will for that also. I guess I'll pitch a Brazen Borrower here. Okay. So I guess it's like a green-black scam, City of Traders, Grist thing. I mean, I suppose that makes sense. They probably do play Orcish Bowmasters, so that's one to watch out for. I'm not really getting Minor Misstep vibes off of this opponent. So what do I want? Maybe like Back to Basics and a copy of Dismember. I mean, Dismember killing the Orcish Bowmaster. That might come up. Okay, so I mean, this is like a reasonably well-balanced hand. It's not entirely clear what our opponent's doing over there. Okay, so I guess it's just Jund Scam. I mean, that's a thing that I've heard of. But our hand is reasonably resilient to whatever our opponent wants to do. Yeah, if they want to exile their Shieldrids, I mean, that works for me. But they're not going to be able to reanimate it this turn, unless they have a Mox Diamond also. They're taking Daze, okay? So do I just want to Wasteland this Taiga? Or I could hold up Stifle. I think I'm going to Wasteland the Taiga. Ancient Tomb, Lotus Petal. Opposition Agent, okay. I mean, that's potentially a good one. None of these are another land. Well, I might get burned for wasting their Taiga. So there's their crazy lifelink dude, but the opposition agent is not a knight. Just got to find a land here. Yeah, the Scalding Tarn, not going to do it against the opposition agent, so we might just get locked out here. But if we do hit on a land, it's going to be dressed down into Phyrexian Dreadnoughts, but you're going to get double triggers from 2 knights, I would assume. Yeah. So we're going to be dead in a hurry if we can't find this land. Okay, well, there is the land. I guess it's play Phyrexian Dreadnought now, so we have a blocker. Well, these things have Menace and Lifelink, huh? So they're going to be able to attack for 6. Man, I don't know. I think I just have to play a Phyrexian Dreadnought now. Stifle the trigger. Then we're at least blocking the Oppo agent, and then we can like dress down and block one of the cavalries next turn. 3rd cavalry. Yeah, I think we're just dead then, I would assume. Yeah, they smartly don't attack with the opposition agent, and these guys have Menace. Whole bunch of triggers for the opponent over there. Well, we just bricked on land a little bit too much. And so, well, I'm at 5. Yeah, I mean, I could dress down and then block the 7-8. But there's still plenty of power in play for them to kill us. Okay? All right, I don't think the game's really about back to basics. Just want to make sure that consider... You know, I want to be able to find lands, basically. So I think I'll take the consider over the back to basics. And I think we should be able to make this happen on the play. Okay, on the play for game 3. This hand just needs to find another land. I think I'll hold up the consider here. And make it look like maybe we have Stifle. They just play right into it. It's a smart move. Okay, I'll consider in their end step. Force of Negation is not a land. That's not a land either. So we just need to find a land. Once again. Yep, I'm stifling this. Alright, the opponent doesn't have anything else. Okay, well that's a land. This Mystic Sanctuary has been terrible. Cracking that fetch. You got it. Alright, they're just passing over there. I'm gonna dress down in their end step and make a Phyrexian Dreadnought. Orcish Bowmaster, sure. I would not consider that to be something that especially matters too much. But what's this going to be with 3 mana? Some cavalry. I think we can let that go. And take 2 here, and then probably dismember the cavalry next turn. Unless we happen to draw yet another Phyrexian Dreadnought. So let's play the Dressdown. So we can fire off a Brainstorm here. The Orcish Bowmaster is lacking abilities. And it looks like I am just going to play Phyrexian Dreadnought. So, and then dismember the cavalry. So the Murktide Regent's a good follow-up. Probably can get rid of the extra Dressdown. And the Force of Negation. Okay, let's play Phyrexian Dreadnought. All right, and I guess I can wait until their turn to dismember the cavalry. I don't see any reason why not. I just foolishly played into Opposition Agent, though. Okay, I'm gonna not get destroyed. Sheoldred's Edict. Okay. I am going to use this opportunity to slip out the back on the Dreadnought. They'll get like a lifelink attack in with their cavalry, but we can still dismember it next turn. But I want to save Force of Will for like a Grist. Broadside Bombardier. Well, we have Daze for that. And then next turn it's dismember the cavalry. Play the Murky Rege and hold up Force. So we get to play the full... Hang on. We get to play the full size Murktide Regent. We get to dismember that thing. Okay. And from here, they're pretty dead, I would say. They're using that blood token. And there's a concession. Okay, 4-1 finish. My first time with Phyrexian Dreadnought on this channel, I do believe. You got to be happy about it. I mean, the deck definitely exceeded my expectations. So yeah, we beat Rhinos, Jeskai, and lands, and Jund Scam. I mean, I'm a little unused to playing with some of these effects. I was thinking between rounds about what we could do with a sideboard. I mean, Stubborn Denial just seems terrible. I think like another Back to Basics. I don't know why you wouldn't play something like that. And then Null Rod. I only have the one Back to Basics. But yeah, I would just put some rods in the board. And then your 15th card is a Back to Basics. And I mean, this deck seems pretty good. So that was pretty sweet. I mean, I expect we'll play some more Phyrexian Dreadnoughts on the channel. I mean, it's everyone's favorite card. I mean, there's a teamer version that's pretty popular. So I got to give that a go. But man, that was awesome. Swinging with 12/12s is pretty cool. So yeah, all right. Thanks for watching, folks. Like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed. Have a good one.